Hello and welcome to part 4 of Forms in Flubaroo, where we're going to learn about other forms features. We've already created our quiz, including all the questions, and found out what the different question types do. So what are some other things that you can do that we haven't talked about yet before we move on to grading with Flubaroo? We've already created our quiz, including all the questions, and found out what the different question types do. So what are some other things that you can do that we haven't talked about yet before we move on to grading with Flubaroo? Well, what's really neat about Forms is because it's a Google Apps product, it constantly gets updated. And about a year ago, you couldn't do too much more than what I've already showed you with Google Forms. But since that time, a lot has happened. And so I'm just going to go through some of the special features and some of the ways of getting your quiz to other people really quickly. The last thing I just want to talk about real briefly is date and time. So when I go to select a question type, I have date or time as well. So if you needed them to put in a specific date, and you can include the time and the year, and they could just choose that as a picker. So if you needed them to pick a date for a presentation, for example, or something like that, and same thing with time. And you can make that required. Underneath this Add Items section, you can select a section header. And basically what a section header does is it allows you to change your directions. And you can do that after you've created all your questions or as you're creating them. And once you're done, so if we just said that this was multiple choice, choose the best answer, and this is going to be my header text for multiple choice, I click done, but now it's in the wrong place, so I've got to move it, right? And this goes to the same thing for all your questions. As you can see, when I roll over a question, it becomes gray. What that allows me to do is take this and move it to where I want to move it. So I want this to be right before my multiple choice question. So I'm going to put that right there, and now I've got a section header, and that now breaks that up and tells students this is the next section. So that's what a section header does. Some people don't mind doing that. You have one long page with the different section headers and each different question type. But some of you might want to do something different, and you can do a page break. And so what a page break will do is gives you a chance to do the same thing. Give it a page title, so it could be multiple choice or this question types that you have on there, and a description of what to do, and you click done. And now you're going to have page 2 of 2, and this is what's going to happen. I can take that and I can drop that anywhere I want, and now I'm going to have all these things are going to be on part 2, on page 2, and all these things are on page 1. So it's pretty simple, and you can notice that when I did do that, and I gave it a page break, and I clicked done here, it'll tell you continue on to the next page, and it gives you a thing to submit a form, go to page 1 or 2, or continue on to the next page as well. The next item I want to talk about, and these are relatively new features that have come out within the last year of Forms, and they've been very, very heavily requested. And the first one is, what happens if I want to add a picture? So now if I go into here and I go into layout again, I can add an image. And I can add an image that I upload, I can take a snapshot of myself, I can do it by URL, I can grab it out of my Google Drive. This time I've got an image here. Maybe I want to help my students just recognize who the correct president of the United States is. And so I'm going to copy that image URL and go back to my test form and paste it in there. And that's going to load my preview. And I'm going to select that. Now it's going to put this into my form, and I can add an image title, and I can also make this smaller or bigger. It's pretty big right now, so maybe I just want to make this a little bit smaller, and I want it to be centered. And so I can add an image title and text to hover text, so when they hover over it, it gives you new text. And then I can take that and I can put that above that question, and then multiple choice, choose the best answer, right? And now they'll get that. They'll get that picture right before they start that question. And then what if I want to insert a video? It's the same thing. I go to video, and this time I can do a search, or I can do by URL, and I happen to have a URL here, and that's now going to add this video into my quiz, and I can make this bigger or smaller as well, and put it wherever I want. Maybe I want that to be a little bit bigger than that as they're watching it on their quiz, and then I can title it. And then if I wanted to, I could ask a question after this. So I have my students read or watch this video, and then when they were done, I'd ask them a question about it, which is really pretty cool, something that we couldn't do before in Forms, we can now. Well, that's it for part 4 of Forms in Flubaroo using other Forms features. Hope you enjoyed it.